keep your friends close. No, your enemies closer, right? That's the saying, right? And so I was watching this video, right? This is a good one, you guys. This is like a fucking good one. Okay, this idea. I just realized what I was doing, and I want to put it out there so it's clear for you guys. Okay, so just watch a video, which was a good video, by a reliable company. It was about basically how leaders get undermined by people close to them and their friends. And it was saying the 5 different types of people. There's the lurker who's always watching you. He ends up showing up at your gym. He ends up showing up on the street when you're walking. And then he wants something from you, or he's going to hurt you, right? Jealousy or whatever. And there was a different, basically, they went through this long video of the 5 different types of guys and how to protect yourself from those type of people. And I was listening to it, and I was like, logically, yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense that, people can have bad intentions. Your best friend can, screw you over. And I was thinking, there's something wrong with this. I was like, there's something wrong with this advice. What's wrong with this advice? And I realized what's wrong with the advice is everything. Okay, so what's wrong with it? So one thing is, I'm going to give you the answer, the way I do it after this. So what's wrong with it is it's based on judgment. So you're supposed to watch their video, okay, and then start eagle-eyeing your friends, start judging your friends. Basically, it's the only way to implement, right? And this is the advice, not just this video, but everybody on earth basically gives the same advice. It's watch eagle-eye, watch your friends, and see the signs. And one, I don't like that. Okay, the reason why I don't like it is because one of the things I hate the worst is that where there's smoke, there's fire. This type of logic is just the most retarded logic. And this is how most people go to prison, essay allegations. There's smoke, there's fire. Well, there's so many problems with that. One, there's coincidence, right? But 2, people that are actually doing bad things set other people up to take the fall. So the smoke was created by the guy doing it. So smoke, there's fire is total bullshit. It's absolute fucking bullshit. It is. In fact, it's so dangerous. You got to find truth before you can accuse someone, right? You know what I mean? There's no fucking smoke. Oh, I should avoid him because of smoke, right? So if the government doesn't like you, it's because you're terrible, right? I got a friend, Roger Veer. He's been arrested, for some kind of tax thing, right? The government never liked that guy, right? I'm not saying he's perfect, but I mean, he's always a good friend to me, right? So, he gave me my first Bitcoin. He's always been a good guy to me, and I've known him for a long time. So everybody decides that he's the worst guy, and everyone's going to hammer him because where there's smoke, there's fire, right? If everybody thinks he's a bad guy, he must be a terrible guy. And I'm not doing the opposite. I'm not saying he's a great guy. I'm just saying, he's my friend. He's always been a good friend. I pick my friends very carefully, right? He's definitely not stupid, that's for sure. But a lot of people want to demonize him, right? So, smoke, there's fire, and let's see. Okay, let me give you the answer. I might have to re-record this because, the answer is so simple. The concept of being unblackmailable. Okay, so the concept being unblackmailable means I don't give a shit if someone undermines me. I don't care. Bring on all the evil people in the world. I don't give a shit. You're all welcome, right? Good and bad. I don't even try to judge you. I don't worry about you. I don't have, the thing is, my life is built in a way that you can't really hurt me. There's nothing that you can really do. You can't tell my boss, you can't tell my wife, You can't tell my family. Like, there's nothing. See, most people, what they do is they have, obviously, secrets. Okay. I just heard that Tom Cruise has some kind of sexual secret that the Church of Scientology is using against him, right? And that's the kind of thing. Most people have something like that. Like, they did something they regret, right? They got boned by a tranny, whatever. For me, any secrets I have, like, smoke, there's fire, right? I talk about sex a lot. So people assume there's more. Oh, there's some dirt in there, right? It's like, people that know me, they're like, after they know me for like 10 years, they're like, wait, you're exactly what you say you are. So everybody says, and I'm like, well, yeah. And they're like, yeah, but you don't understand. Like, you don't understand. Most people are not like that. Like, the longer you know them, you find out all this other bullshit, right? For me, it's out there. And I don't care, smoke, there's fire. So even if I'm saying things that will make you think there's something, I don't care about that. Because I just can't be fucked over, really. There's really, you can't take my job, you can't take my house, you can't take my car, because I don't care. So when I have a house, car, whatever, I just don't give a shit. I just move on. I have friends everywhere. I just cruise to another country. If somebody fucks over some career for me, like I just know myself. I got a ton of talent. If one career is done, I just move to the next. And I think, well, this is a good time to change. This is a good time to try a new career. This is a good time to try a new country, right? I'm not saying everybody's doing this kind of stuff all the time, but this is the stuff that holds you back. It's the fear of all these things. And it's the reality, is that you build your life on quicksand. It's basically a life based on the opinions of other people. So your boss has to have an opinion of you in order for you to keep the job. Your wife has an opinion of you in order to keep your job. Because for me, I don't care if anybody particular is near me. If we don't groove, right, in ideas or whatever, if they, like I like to walk all the time. If I'm with somebody who doesn't walk, there's only so much time we can spend together because I'm gonna keep moving. I gotta keep moving. I'm just a perpetual motion machine. So I'm gonna move. I'm walking right now, right? And so if somebody decides that they don't want to be my friend, don't want to work, don't want to this, I guess, I had a lot of, and this is like goes back to the first two Ronin videos. I had a lot of jealousy when I was growing up. And I did have a lot of people try to fuck me over. A lot of people. Including people, very close to me. Like, I'm not trying to fuck me over. Like, more than that. Like, trying to destroy me. I had many people, actually, in my life try to destroy me. And, see, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? Oh, wow, he has people want to destroy him. Must be a terrible guy, right? Every time I find out what it really was, it's usually envy. It's usually envious of something, the way I live, whatever it is. Like, could be a million things. Being in shape, one of the things I had the most was invisible. People that were envious of me for being happy, or being confident. I had one guy come to me, he's like, why are you so confident? Like, why are you so confident? What? Like, I've done a lot of things. And I kind of thought about it later. I was like, wow, that was really heavy, actually, because there was a real burning, sensation in this guy. And what he was saying is like, I'm not confident, and I'm extremely jealous that you're confident. And he was looking for some kind of like badge that I had, like why I'm, like, oh, this, I have that, or did this. But to me, I don't know. I think if you live the way I do, you're going to have a lot of confidence. Because I think, and it's related, I think that all this fake stuff and worry and judging your friends and kind of walling yourself off from people instead of opening yourself up to people. You open yourself up because you got nothing to lose, right? So, and when I say nothing to lose, I don't mean that I haven't lost things. I have lost things. But the thing is, I don't give a shit. Like, I just move on. Like, literally, it bothers me for a few days or whatever. And then I think, well, fuck, lost of business in China. Somebody said, why didn't you get revenge? The truth was, I didn't really care that much. I was kind of tired of doing that business anyway. And I was had done everything. Well, the business was still growing, so there was a sense of loss that we weren't able to take it to the next level that I saw it could go to. So there was a feeling of that. But as far as doing the same thing, there was no sense of loss for continuing what I was doing because I'd already done it. And I was feeling like, hey, it's time to ramp this up or raise money and do a project or something new, right? And I gained a lot from that business because it was the first time I went to a new country and actually succeeded. And there was you talk about jealousy. Holy shit. When I was in China, this is hilarious, you guys. There was this guy, we called him Angry Mark. But anyway, Angry Mark, right? This is hilarious. I mean, this is fucking hilarious. So we're in a meeting, right? Or before a meeting or something, right? And no, it was during a meeting. And everybody gets a chance to talk, right? So he goes, some guys just come into China and start a real estate business and then they're all happy and they just succeed, and they just are all happy and succeed and, that sucks, basically. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. Like everybody looked at me like there was no doubt who he was talking about, right? There was no mystery. We're only like 10 people, right? And, yeah, like I wonder who he's talking about.
He's got blended here.
I wonder, it's a mystery of the universe. Can never guess who he is alluding to. I think I even said, Mark, just say my name. I think I said that. You may as well just say my name, So, it's like, the thing is like, I don't know. I just can only theorize about other people. And I don't like theories. I don't know why people do the things they do. Really, to be honest. Yeah, there's some theories out there I could repeat. But basically, I don't give a shit. Some people are good, some people are bad. And I don't trust my judgment before I meet somebody. Because anytime I put a limit on meeting people, right, then I will immediately have less friends, right? And you know why most people are lonely? Why are most people lonely when they're old? The reason is because they get less and less friends as they get older. And that's because of the very thing I'm talking about. Is they get fucked over, and then they get angry at people, and they get very distant, and they start judging, like a new friend comes in, and they're watching him like a hawk, like, is he doing what this is? Like, I don't think any of these theories work. I think people can be bad and then become good. Like I've had people in my life who I know they just are super jealous, hate my guts or whatever, but there's a period of time that passes and I've noticed them just suddenly look at me like somewhat in awe, like I don't have anything against them, like I don't care. And that I am being myself. And I don't know what it is, but I've definitely had people that were straight up trying to destroy me be with me long enough and become like my biggest supporter. Because I don't know actually what it is. But I think the truth wins or something. I don't know. Or maybe they realize, like, I think most people, like, when you attack them, they attack you back kind of thing, right? And, like, I have no desire, I have no need for that stress, you know.
Maybe they think that you're trying to be better than them. But then they realize, like, you're just doing you.
Right.
It's nothing against anybody. It's just your natural state. So they realize, like, wait, he's not trying to flaunt or be better. Like, you're never against them at all. Just,
right. Not against them.
Just like the wind. And they're like...
Right. And every time I speak, like, at an event, one thing I noticed is you can tell who these people are because the guy who speaks after me, like if I was speaking at, I've spoken at a lot of events, right? And not 12-step, it's just like business things. And the guy behind me will say, well, I don't know if I can keep up with that. I don't know if I can top that. I immediately know they're one of those type of people. Because they're trying to top other people, and they want to be the best speaker. Like, I don't want to be the best speaker. I hope there's another guy in that group that speaks more eloquently, more naturally, with more true emotion, where I can learn something, right, about expression, right? For me, that's awesome. If I hear somebody who is a very powerful orator, and I can always learn something, but I usually don't learn much, from listening to most people speak. And I've noticed that a lot of people, especially professional speakers, are super sensitive when I speak, like really sensitive. Like they basically hate me. Like really, this is like a fact. I spoke at a big business event in Vancouver, and everybody else was supposed to be the expert. And my friend had asked me just to go on there. But the thing was, I totally understood the topic. And I personally didn't care that they all hated me. They weren't going to invite me back. See, everybody else is blackmailable because they flew me there. They gave me from China. They gave me a free helicopter ride from Vancouver to Vancouver Island. They gave me a free hotel room. They paid me to be there. And so most people, they value that, right? So they say, well, I don't want to outshine. I don't want to do anything to piss anybody off because then I'll lose this speaking gig. But for me, it's a one-off. I'm happy with just going once and meeting a bunch of other jealous speakers and then some good people in the room, right? And then screwing a couple girls, which actually happened, and then just having a good time. And then that was a great experience for me because I'm not trying to build anything. I'm not trying to build a professional speaker. I don't have a career in that, I kind of don't have a career in anything. I just like to do stuff. And I like to do it well. Like I enjoy truth and I enjoy laughter and meeting people. And so I'm kind of like a handyman with many skills, right? But I'm not trying to compete with people in their little niche. And I've had just so many people, especially those people, man, you want somebody who guaranteed to hate me, some guy in a small town who's kind of a big fish type dude. Those motherfuckers, they fucking, they usually have the most like rigid persona. It's like a constructed story of their life. And it's why this and that. And I come in and I don't want to do this, you guys. I would rather never meet these guys, to be honest. But they exist, and I run into them. I can't help. They're there, right? You come in, there he is. You act like yourself, there he is, And then he's just, everything I do is antithetical of what he says. Like he'll say, oh, you got to stay in one place. You got to commit. My family's been in San Francisco for 3 generations, 4 generations. We are important, And then, like, that's just the stupidest possible idea I could ever think of. That you're important because you never tried something new, right? Like, that's just so ridiculous in my philosophy. So once my philosophy grew out a bunch of stupid ideas that I had when I was younger, right? I had stupid ideas, of course. But I guess I didn't hold on to them as much as other people. I didn't double down on them, right? And there's many careers I could have, but I always get in the group. I'll just do my thing. That event I spoke at, there was another girl. She was not jealous. She came up to the guy who organized the whole thing, Chris, and she said, Chris, you got to know, your friend stole the show. He was the dark horse at this summit, at this convention. And like he laughed because he had just invited me on a whim, I had known him from Japan, right? And I wasn't even sure I didn't even know if I could fit into this group but it turns out I picked a good topic and it ended up working. But, I wish I didn't have to do this, but just being yourself can kind of destroy people, kind of. Because they never fuck girls, they never took health seriously, and now they're past the point of no return. They're on the slide downhill, and they can't accept that they caused their own life, So they got to hate you, they got to destroy you. But the thing with me is, like, it's not destroying me. You know what I mean? Like, I gained a lot from speaking at that event. I spoke there twice. I think I spoke once, and then like 2 years later or whatever, I spoke again. It was a great experience for me because I knew I was a good speaker. I was won every speech contest in college and high school. Or debating, yeah, also speech. And the girls I trained in Japan, they always won the Tokyo Metropolitan Speech Contest. Every girl I taught. Except for one, she got 7 out of 8 judges gave her number 1, and one judge gave her like number 5. Because his school, the girl from his school, he gave her 1. So mine got second place one time. But that was total bullshit. And everybody told me to. Everybody goes, that's complete bullshit. And while I was in Cambodia, drinking Dave's son, he was trying to do a speech and he sucked ass, and I got him to totally change the way he thought. I got him to move around, talk logically. He was just like so scared, just repeating what he had written down, And I taught him, like I said, I taught him, how to speak. Like when you're with your friends, you don't act like that. When I see you running around outside, he's like, well, yeah, And I said, well, like here you are, And I explained the mindset of a speaker, and then he was like, he just took it on, and he won. He was kicked ass. He's only 12, but he was so stoked. And I had to do that under the radar of his dad, because his parents were trying to tell him to do it this way. But like, I'm kind of genius public speaker, actually. So I was like taking him aside, and I kind of said, don't listen. I said, don't listen. I said, look, just be natural. Don't worry about the words, argue for things you believe in. And I showed him that he didn't even need his notes. He could just basically, we worked through his concept was, is it better to study in groups or is it better to study alone? Right? And then we went through the different reasons why. And he didn't need any notes. He totally was like, it was obvious to him, like the reasons why it's better to do this or that. And so now the thing is Drinking Dave is he's the man, right? So he doesn't take it personally. He's a guy like me. He's like, oh yeah, fucking glad it worked out. You know what I mean? Whereas there's a lot of fucking people, man. I took a girl. There's 2 things I'm really good at teaching. One is public speaking, and the other one is swimming. And so I took my friend's daughter. My friend Scott, he knows me, and he had his kids in these fucking swimming classes where there's the whole summer they're there to learn how to swim to this island. And I was like, and his kids were basically terrified of the water. And I said, Scott, I think Scott said, he had heard that I am a good teacher at swimming. So he said, why don't you just take the kids, just do whatever you want. You do your thing. I'll just sit aside. And then I looked at them and I was horrified how, far away they were from where I wanted them to be. But I explained water, how to think about water. And after 25 minutes, his daughter and me, literally, the one who could not swim at all, we swam out to the platform. They got out in the water, which is, I don't know how many meters is that. It's pretty far. You've been out there.
15, 20 meters.
Let's say 20 meters, 60 feet. So we swam out there, and she was like totally laughing and cruising. She didn't even know she was swimming. She was just hanging out with me, basically. Like, she's just enjoying it. So we got out there, and I said, she was doing so good, like suddenly, because I tapped into her natural, we're all in our mother's stomach, we're all in liquid, right? And I said, hey, do you want to try going down in the water? See what happens. And she's like, okay. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go down, and I'm going to look at you, and then you look at me, and you do the okay sign if you're okay. And then if you want to go up, give the thumbs up, we'll go up. So we went down like 6 inches, and then she's looking at me, she's all, doo, and she starts going down. And so I was like, okay, I follow her down. So we get down to like 3 feet, and then she's all, okay. So we came back up, right? And she like didn't even know she did anything. She had no idea that her life is different now. Like, so she's like, I want to go deeper, I want to go to the bottom. So there's this ugly chain underneath the platform, right? And then people don't like scary, dark things in the water, right?
Mossy, icky.
Yeah, mossy, icky, dark. Yeah, it makes noises, right? And so we went down, and I couldn't believe it. She just swam down to the bottom. I mean, I don't know how deep it is. Anybody been there this last summer probably knows.
I don't know. I didn't go to the bottom.
It's probably about 20 feet, you know.
Wow.
So, you know, something like that. So we're down at the bottom, and we're like using our hands to kind of stand on the bottom. And then she does the okay thing, and she's like smiling, and then we went up. And that was it. She's a swimmer now, you know. And it was like, I think getting in touch with stuff allows you to find the way to things, right? But so many people, they're like, the things they do to learn are just so, to me, they're just incredibly kind of against what they're trying to learn. And it puts them behind the eight ball. Because following those rules, you're never going to be good, you know. You're never going to be a good swimmer if you learn how to swim like a swimming class. I mean, maybe you'll get lucky and somebody will like throw you in like a dangerous situation, and then you might learn how to swim. But I think if you just start, I think we can just do shit. It's easy. It's fucking easy. Get the right mindset. Get out there. Fucking piece of cake. Piece of fucking cake. You got a million skills you haven't used, and it's natural. And the thing is, you guys don't even know. This is fire for most guys. They will want to kill you. They will hate you. They will want to destroy you. Because it's like you're like happy. And you might like if you're a musician, right? You might just pick up another instrument that they play all the time and be better than in one day, right? You know, or you might play a game that you never played. You know, Brent and I played pickleball. We did a pickleball thing. And then he's a good athlete, right? He was the guy who basically drove it. But we won. It was my first time playing, you know. And I was diving and shit. I was all bloody, you know. I was like fully going for it. Because I knew I don't care about winning, but Brent did. So I was like, okay, fuck it. We're going to go for it. We're going to win. And we beat these guys, you know. And the other guy had a carbon fiber paddle. And he had to keep telling me the rules because I didn't know the rules. What's it called, that game? It's not pickleball. Is it pickleball?
Tennis?
No, it must be pickleball.
There's tennis. It's on a tennis court, but it uses like a different ball.
Pickleball. It's the new one that's popular. And
square paddle.
And this guy was super angry that we won. He was super fucking angry. Like, I mean, like breathing fire angry. Because it was my first time playing, right? And then Brent never plays, you know. But he's an athlete, right? And we just played and had fun. I think the thing is when I get my ass kicked, you guys think, oh, he's bragging. No, I get my ass kicked on stuff all the time, you know, and it's fun, you know. I'm sitting there getting my ass kicked on some sport, and then I can watch the guy, I can learn, you know. Like I remember, like speaking of getting my ass kicked, I remember my friend Scott Jones in high school. He was much faster than me, and he was so fast. He was 5'10". And the NBA scouts came to his house to try to get him to join. Like, that's how good he was in basketball.
Wow.
A 5'10" white guy. We're talking about 1982. Back then, they didn't take short guys. It was a given that you needed to be tall, right? But he was so talented, and he could jump too. And he was fast as fuck, right? So athletic. And he was way more athletic than me. Him and his brother, too. They beat me at every sport. Well, there's another Iranian guy I'll talk about. But so then we raced. And the thing I noticed, it was me, him, and his brother, Tom. And Tom and him, when they raced, I looked at them sideways just to see what they were doing different than me. And their knees were coming up almost to their, chest. Their knees were coming way up. And they both were running the same way. My knees were just down low, right? And I was running as fast as I could. And they were smoking me. And I realized if I ever, I don't know if it's a genetic thing partly, but if I ever really want to get good at running, I got to learn to lift my knees up, right? And so I learned something from him, right? And also, when I was saving up money to go to Japan, I worked in this company, Pfizer. I worked in their legal department for 3 months or something. And so I was working my ass off. And there was another guy, Abdi, this Iranian guy, good friend of mine. And he was fucking great. Abdi Shirazi. It'd be so. No, was it Shirazi? No, that was the other guy. There was two Iranian guys there. But anyway, Abdi, if you're out there, man, if you ever listen to this, I want to see you again, man. We had so much fun together. But he was a better athlete than me in every sport. Like, I never beat him once at any game in any sport. Now, I'm not really competitive, so I'm not like super trying to beat my friends. But there was a frustration after a while that we would play every day, lunchtime, break time, and I never won one game. Even when I was ahead, 18-3, he would come back and beat me. So it was a little frustrating. I was like, man, because I'm pretty good at ping pong, Like, I'm not bad, And he just always beat me. And the thing was, I was in awe of that, to be honest. Like, I thought he was amazing, And even to this day, like, I'd love to see one thing I learned about him. I learned something. He used his legs. I kind of stood like a wooden Indian, just kind of using my arms and leaning over. He would go way down, even for an easy hit. He would use his knees and come down to the floor like 6 inches from the ground, pick it up off the ground, and then he would always use his legs. He was always coming up and using his entire body, like it wasn't like his arms. Every move was his complete body, fingertips to toes, and he used so much more energy than most people, because it looked like the other people were standing still compared to him, But it was all very logical. It was all perfect physics, using his body to perfectly, so he could really put a nice soft. He could spin it either way. He could go backhand. You could spike backhand. He could pick it up. Like, I was good at spiking, right? But he was the only guy who could return my spikes ever. He returned my spikes regularly. And he had some kind of move where he'd come back and then pull the paddle back to soften it, and would come back and I'd spike it again, because he loved to watch me spike and then to return it. So I was just like, whack the other way. And he'd somehow fucking get over there and fucking do that same thing. Even though he paddled 6 inches from the fucking ground, he would somehow pull it back at the last second, and it would just pop, come right back up. And I was just like, whoa, So it's not that you're good at everything. It's like when you unleash your real instinctive, natural self, you're going to be better at most things than you think. But at the same time, if you're not, then what you want to do is play against the best so that you can see what they do. Because a lot of times just watching people, really watching a guy who's a genius, will totally change the way you see it. You'll think it's genetic, but you'll realize it's not genetic often. It's often his mindset, his technique, something that you can learn. There's often something you can learn to become significantly better than what you are. So the way that you don't have to worry about your friends screwing you over, and let's face it, taking the glory or, being the one, the way you do that is that you realize you personally let go of all your bullshit, right? Let go of all your ego and realize that, I guess for me, like, sport is just another thing that you would do with somebody. Like, I'm not trying to win. It's like I'm doing something with that person. Like, together we are doing this thing, right? Something you can do with another person. And then I guess one of my other things I believe is that most things are easy. My argument for this is that you look at communist China, right? They basically starved people. Most of the smart people, educated people, left China in 1949. They went to Taiwan, started shoe companies, a lot of shoe companies in Philippines and Thailand. They went overseas, and I don't know why, but most of them came from Fujian province, and they started, shoe companies, and then they became real estate companies, mall companies, big retail companies or whatever. But then the people that were, essentially the peasants stayed in China, and they were uneducated, And then the government shut down all schools in the 60s. So they didn't even get, like my doctor that gave me circumcision and also fixed my testicles after that traumatic injury, he never went to medical school. He learned on the job. He never went to medical school. He finished school in 8th grade. And then he learned how to be a doctor on the job. And he was great. He was a great doctor, you know. Now, of course, he might have made a couple of mistakes here and there back in the day. But I don't know. I mean, maybe it's not that fucking hard. Like, he was fucking good, man. He could do anything. He was one of these guys he wasn't, like if I asked for any surgery, he could do it, you know. It's like, yeah, okay, I do this, you know. And then it would be perfect, you know. And it's kind of like a guy who plays musical instruments or something, you know. Those guys are just musically inclined, which I am not. I can't sing. I can't play any. I played drums in a shitty band and got kicked out. But, you know, I was never musically inclined, you know, and which I seriously regret not getting training. It's one thing I regret. Two things I regret. I regret not getting good musical training and math training. You know, I wish I would have put my nose to the grindstone at the right time in my life. And also I too am open to learning now what I can learn, you know. But you know, because I can't sing on tune. I'm just like terrible, right? So I guess to tie this together, how it's related, is by being empty, you know, like an empty vessel, open. And realizing that, wait, I was going to say about China. I didn't say about China. So the educated people left, right? They killed people with glasses and teachers and everything. Not everybody, they did force the other ones to wear dunce caps and all that, right? But that country came up. There's doctors there now that never went to school. There's people running nuclear plants. There's people running the military. Like, there's a lot of older guys in China who learned it on the job, whatever skill they have. And they work very hard. And it really taught me a lot, because I'm watching Chinese people, like, when I was there, even in 2004, when I was living there, I realized that my whole Western concept of having a license, you know, being licensed, is just total bullshit. Like, it's just a way for society to basically put up barriers so you can't compete with the guy. So he's the electrician, you can't do it, right? You know. But I think people can learn stuff and just do stuff. You know, I personally, I'll kind of try anything. Like, you know, I mean, I'll study. I'm not going to just start cutting electric wires that are live, you know what I mean? But I'm confident that basically the Western way is kind of lame. Like, it's just this whole, you need a license for this, you need a license for that, and then you're an expert. You go to this school and then you're an expert. You know, now I'm not saying like talented people don't sometimes get licenses, but I think it's the talent and the teacher and the kind of being in touch with your, you know, instinctual self or whatever. You get what I'm saying, right? You just can learn it. You just look, you know, like you learn the basics. You look very closely. You learn sometimes by error sometimes. And other times you learn, someone will mentor you, right? But these are all human things that we do naturally. You don't need a piece of paper. You don't need, like, the whole marriage certificate or any of these fucking things. I learned they're just bullshit. Like, when I go home, I just see a bunch of people that are basically retards. They've been given some kind of right to do something, and they're the best, you know. Oh, God, I met some speakers. They're just incredible. Like, they got some kind of speakers association things and stuff, and it's just like, all they do is say the same thing all the time. And they also, like, I love questions. I love solving problems from the stage. Like, I don't see speaking as speaking. I see it as a chance to interact and learn and stuff, right? So I'm talking to people from the stage. So how many people think this and then we'll get into the, I'll get a sense of people, and then we'll have a discussion based on those people, what they need to know now, right? Not like, oh, I've memorized these ideas, I'm just going to spew these out to these people, and then I'll get some money, and I'll be a professional speaker, It's like, I don't know, I think the unblackmailable mindset is just kind of like wanting to kind of try everything and having your life set up so that you know that you're not perfect judgment. You're going to misjudge people. People are going to try to stab you. They're going to try to take over. They're going to try to steal this. They're going to try to put you down so people don't believe you. But the thing is, here's the thing, is the more you follow this, the stronger you get. Your true self. Your true self, which leads to skills, right? And then it's not true. You're fucking great. And no one can really take you down. If you're fucking great at something, people can talk bad about you, but nobody really cares. They're just not stupid. There's a level where people are just not stupid. They're like, that guy's always trying to put that guy down. It's like, well, obviously, because the guy's more the guy's more talented in the one thing that he makes money at, And again, I'm going to add my caveat here, is if you're in a position where you're older, you have a career, you might realize listening to this, you're not the greatest doctor or whatever. There's nothing wrong with milking the cow. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm not saying you should walk away from a doctor's thing, but save money is one of my best advice. Save money, and that way, if something does go wrong, you're fine. You move to Thailand, you go cruise around, you have a good time, have a good life, right? It's because you're unblackmailable as much as you can be, with the doctors, all those fucking things that they can take away from you, right? They tried to take away Jordan Peterson's right to be a psychologist, right? But YouTube is what saved him, because the guy is brilliant, right? I'm not a huge fan of his or anything, but the guy's not stupid. There's no question. He fulfilled a role in society for maybe even now. I haven't watched any of his stuff recently, but he was very articulate and intelligent. But it was YouTube that saved him. He's a perfect example, actually, now I think about it. Because he didn't do what the society wanted, right? He didn't do, as a psychologist, you're supposed to not talk about, basically psychologists, there's that one guy who goes around and he talks to psychologists and says, how many people have you cured? And everybody says, well, that's not our goal. There's a bunch of psychologists. They're like, well, nobody, And then one girl starts cracking up. She goes, maybe one? And these were old psychologists, right? It just doesn't work, right? This is total farce, right? So the way that psychology degrees and licenses and couples counseling, the way it survives is basically the fact that nobody ever judges it. Nobody ever takes a hard look at it. Nobody ever does a doge on that stuff. And so, you have essentially what it attracts is evil people who want to keep people sick so that they can keep talking to them, basically, right?
Getting a fat paycheck, too.
Yeah, getting a fat paycheck, right? And that's the thing. A lot of people will say, well, if you cure people, if you help people, then they won't need you anymore. I mean, that's fine with me. They don't need me, or I'll do something else. I'm just help them out. And then I realize, that doesn't last very long. Help them out, now I'll do something else, because I don't care. I'm just going to do what I want to do. I'll help people out. And then if they don't give a shit anymore, don't want to pay or don't want to help, then whatever. I did a good job. I did a good thing. It's like one more good thing I did, So that's people say, why do you have confidence? It's confidence because this is the way I think. I don't have I'm not hidden trying to control you or keep you down or be better than you or make fun of you. And I'm just constantly thinking the way I'm talking about here. And Well, I've said it many times, but the most extreme. I don't care if I'm homeless. Like, it doesn't really, or in jail. Like, that's fine. You know, it's like, I'm always gonna, like, people in jail have had good lives. Written books, you watch sunset, sunrise, make friends. Like, there's people who have done amazing things in jail. You know, Nelson Mandela, different people, right? You know, so if somebody falsely, accuses you, of course, you're going to have to make some big changes and stuff. But that's what life is a series of big changes, especially as you get older and your body doesn't work the same. You got to make big changes. You can't have the same opinion of yourself. I'm a big drinker. I can hold my liquor, right? You get older and your liver's like, well, can't really do that anymore. So what are you going to do, right? Are you going to change or not, right? So it's just a series of things changing. People will try to scare you. They'll try to threaten you. They'll try to silence you. But it's all from the same place. It's from that place where they never maximized themselves. They believed that if they got this license, right, this right to do this thing, that was going to protect them, and they didn't have to grow anymore because now they're the man, right? They're the doctor. It's I prefer a doctor like in India. I went to a doctor in India, and she helped price 60 people an hour. Like, they're all waiting in line at this village. And then they would tell her what's wrong, and she'd be like, this, and then next. I went there with my girlfriend. She thought she had, what's that called? Tetanus. She thought she had tetanus. And we got to the front of the line, and the lady goes, she goes, open your mouth. And then my girlfriend, like, she opens her mouth, like, she's like, oh, like it's kind of like hard. And she goes, you don't have tetanus, next. And then we were done, right? And so we're on the side. And I went up to the doctor, had to help her. I said, hey, we're like Westerners, like maybe Indians, like just, I said, we're used to like kind of explanations, like what? And the lady looked over, she was pissed off that we were wasting any time at all. And she goes, if she had tetanus, she couldn't open her mouth. It's not about being painful. And that was it. And I think my girlfriend had a hard time with that. But for me, it was like, whoa, that's the best doctor I've ever seen. She just boom. She'd tell you what you don't want to hear, but it's the truth, and she didn't have tetanus, right? And the woman knew for sure she didn't have tetanus because you physically cannot open your mouth. So she was convinced, because we had, long story, she had fallen down, so she thought maybe it was some kind of rusty something, But I love stuff like that. I love that doctor. I love the experiences I had in the third world with medicine. I love the truth I've seen from living outside the West. And I like being in touch with your real skills sets. I love learning from smart guys. I love being around other guys who also are just in the moment doing the best like trying to maximize their life, right? And just kind of like blasting through life, right? Improving all the time and just kicking ass and being grateful and all the things you feel when you're a good, healthy person, right? Someone helps you, you're grateful, right? Someone fucks you, you're not grateful, right? And just kind of like just being normal and natural and healthy, right? That's the key. That's the key, So anyway, don't spend your life judging your friends. That's not going to help. And your judgment's not very good anyway. Like mine isn't. I can't tell if someone's going to be evil. I can't tell. All I'm going to do is just use my own prejudices that I have with the person. It's better just to let them in. I won't say what it was, but I did a big project online one time. It was a huge viral thing once. And there was a bunch of death threats, right? And it was a huge thing. It was like super viral. And so there was all these death threats. And so I made a video. And I said, this is where I live. I said, if you want to come kill me, come over and kill me now. Or at least try. I'll probably get you, but just come and try. And let's get this over with. And I made this video just saying that. And I had millions of people listening, right? This was like super viral project. And everybody told me, like, you're inviting evil in, And it's like, no, evil's out there. They want to try, go ahead and try, Let's get over with because I just don't have time for it. Like, life is short, you know, and I've had people try to screw me over and destroy me and all that. And it's like, yeah, I've already had that. It's like, you know, that's the thing. I like, in a sense, I kind of welcome it. Because, like, how smart is this guy going to be? What's he going to try, you know? It's like, for me, it's like, oh, this will be interesting, you know? You know, I'll have to figure this one out, you know? But don't live your life in fear, you know? And that's what the whole thing's about. It's all about fear, you know? Yeah, something bad might happen. But the more you don't live in fear, the less likely it's going to happen. Because when you're not in fear, you're thinking. And if you keep yourself super healthy, your brain is fucking working, right? So the odds that some fucking loser is going to come in and get you ain't as high as people think. It ain't that easy. It ain't that fucking easy. And that video, I left it up for a long time. I eventually took it down because the whole project didn't get funded in the end. Well, we got funded. We had to give it back. Long story. And it was like, I took down a couple of videos except for the original one. And then the other ones talking about it, people talking about the project. But it was a great experience. And don't be bullied by people. Like, don't live your life in fear. You know, if somebody fucking thinks something evil and they want to, you know, I mean, I personally think take it on, even if you don't make it. Like, don't, even if the guy did take you out, I think it's still the best way to go. You know, because living in fear is just the worst. It is the fucking worst. I don't wish it on anybody. You know, I think we should all go attack life, do the best we can, and if some things happen, they happen, right? But fear is not going to help. Fear is not going to, it's not going to fucking help. And you might even learn something, you know. I learned something from all those guys trying to destroy me and like this and that. I always learned something, you know. I could go another video, what I learned, I have to think about that one. But I'm sure I learned stuff. For sure. Well, one thing I learned is that it's not that easy. You know, like, I've set up my life to be not unblackmailable. Now, even making this video, I'm compromising a little bit of unblackmailableness, right? It would be, if I just stayed silent, nobody would know what I thought. I would have a huge upper hand on them, right? But the thing is, I want to pass it on to you guys. So at least you guys have a chance to use these ideas. You know, I guess I feel so confident that I feel like not only can I have it myself, I can pass it on publicly and still be good, you know? Because I'm fine, you know what I mean? Like, I like fucking challenges, you know? I like challenges, you know? And I think that's the only way we learn is like real challenges, you know? It's the only way we really get shaken out of our fucking boring Starbucks life, right? Is like active challenges, you know? They're never at the right time. They're always uncomfortable, but they're the things. Everybody's building a comfortable life, right? Oh yeah, I should say that. So the whole thing is, these other people with their fake degrees and lives, they are searching for comfort, searching for protection, safety. I say run from all that bullshit. None of it will protect you anyway, okay? Either it won't give you safety and it won't give you comfort. And that's why everybody's so underlying scared of everything, right? It's like, you know, everybody's living in fear. It's because their life is built, it's a house of cards. You take out one card, it's all over, you know. Yeah, I think that's the concept. Yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys think about that one.